Hello everyone, my name is Jess and I am the Australian Banqer team member who will be running you through this very quick webinar this afternoon. I think a couple of you have found it, but before I click over to my screen, the bottom right chat bar is the best place for you to put any questions you might have for me during my webinar, and I'll either answer them as I go or at the end. Okay, let me just share my screen with you. Give me a moment. Okay, should now hopefully be able to see my Banqer dashboard. So the purpose of this webinar is just to give you a bit of an understanding of where things are found in Banqer and sort of how you could get started at the beginning of next year, as well as maybe just a very quick overview of how you might continue using it during the school year next year. Okay, as I said, this is what we call a dashboard. It's where you'll come when you first log in every time. In the middle of your dashboard, you will see this box here that says Start the Tour. And that tour is a basic orientation. It takes you through and shows you where everything is, gives you a bit of information that you can read, shows you where you are. You click the continue button and it will take you through step by step. I am going to skip out of that, however, because you don't want to watch me do the tour. Also, I might do a bit of explaining things that are already in there and you don't really want to hear things twice. Okay. Oh, I can't hear anything. My mic is on, I think. Okay. Here. Sorry, love, I'm just trying to find a solution for Rebecca. So you can hear me. Okay, I'll continue going and then maybe when I email it to Rebecca, she'll be able to hear my recording. Okay. So, as I said, this is the dashboard. Okay, excellent. The tour is where we recommend you getting started just to get your head around where things are. I will run through where things are within each clickable area, give you a bit of an idea of how to use Banqer in the class. So under dashboard is a tab called Manage Students. This is where you'll come to find all of your students. It'll give you information on how much money is in their accounts, in their savings account, and when they're logged in. This is my demo account. These students don't exist, so they haven't logged in. But if I click on a student, I can come in and find a little bit more information. I can change their password. I can log in as them. I can allocate them as the student banker. So if you'd like them to be responsible for making payments in your class, you can give them that role. Obviously, you then need to talk to them about the responsibilities behind that and the fact that they can't then pay themselves money, because if they did that in the real world working at a bank, it would be a crime, obviously. There is the option to quick pay the students some money. That money will automatically appear in their account. And you can flick and toggle between all of your students up here. The next tab down is the Payments and Transfers tab. This is where you come to make payments. So your choice is a one-off payment that will go out automatically, or an automatic payment that you can set up to happen every day, week, or fortnight, depending on what suits you. It might be, there are several, there are several reasons why you might do it. For example, you might have a group of students who teach a buddy class each week and you want to reward them for that. You can set an automatic payment for that. I'll flip back and just show you how to do a one-off payment. You click on the students that you want to pay. It can be all of the students or it can be a select few. You put in your reference note on-task behaviour and the amount that you want to pay them, you click this red button. If for some reason they might have accrued differing amounts, you can decide to then click this individual amount button and pay them different amounts depending on what they have accrued. And then that money will have gone into their account. The other tab in here, sorry, there's two other tabs. The Debits tab you use in the exact same way. However, obviously it's a debit tab, so it will take money out of your student's account. So say, for example, all of your students have accrued a special reward and you want them to pay you, rather than having them all log in and pay you, you can come in and quickly take money out of all of their accounts at once. As I said before, if you have allocated a student banker, they also have access to this tab, and they can do that for you too. If I click down into class transactions, it will give you a bit of an overview of the payments that I've just made. Those payments mustn't have gone out. Let me go back and make the payment to those students. Let's see if it works this time. There we go. It was successful this time. So now when I come down, it will show you that I've paid all of those students in my list. You can also filter by failed. So sometimes the students may not have enough money in their account, and they might have automatic payments set up. And if they're not paid, you can come in here and have a little check, and then obviously make them rectify that payment. You can filter by the money coming into your account, so students paying you money, or money going out, so all of the money that's come out of your account. And if you want to, you can allow students to pay money to each other, and so you can keep an eye on that if you want to make sure that they're doing that in a responsible manner. The next tab down is the parent portal. Here you can just click this blue print invite letters button and send it home to your parents if you want them to be involved. All that happens is they basically get a mirrored version of their own child's account. So they log in and just see what's active in their student's account, the transactions that they've participated in, and any of the modules that you have enabled. They can't chat to you in any way, but it is a way for them to sort of engage in what their child is learning about in the class if you wanted to activate it that way. Class settings, you can come in and make several changes to your class through here. The question we get most is if you are in a team teaching environment and you want another teacher on your class added to your class account, you just type their email in here, press the invite teacher button, and they will receive an email. They follow the instructions, and then they will have access to this account too. And you can have more than one. You can have as many teachers added to your account as you like. All right, then we come down to the modules. So what I'll do is I will tell you sort of the order that we suggest they be enabled in, and they're kind of in the order we suggest, and how we would enable them at the beginning of the term, and then sort of a quick overview of the rest of the year. So the very first module that we usually enable is the basic income module. Obviously, this is a way to get students excited and interacting with Banqer. As you saw me just do, click the enable button. You put in an amount that you're happy for them to earn and the day, and then you click save. It's entirely up to you, which is kind of the best part about Banqer. It's always entirely up to you as to the amount that you think is appropriate for your students. Some teachers pay minimal amounts, and some teachers pay much, much more. The reason we have $300 in as a suggestion is because we normally say students come to school for about 30 hours per week, so they're being paid $10 per hour to come to school. That does then allow you to have a bit of a conversation about minimum wage amounts. Obviously, that's a lot less than what the minimum wage would be, but it does allow that conversation, and you can talk about maybe why they would be getting less if they're under the real age of people who are allowed to get jobs. In each module, there will always be these sections. So up the top here is this little video here. This video is for you as a teacher. It's not for the students. And it basically just reiterates what I'm telling you now. It'll show you how to set it up. It'll tell you where things are. It might give you a bit more understanding of what it is, or maybe how to implement it. There's also going to be this red button. So as it says, view resources on income. If you click this red button, it will take you to our lesson plan resource hub, and it will show you all of the lessons that are linked to that particular module. So in the income module, there are several lesson plans that you might choose to download and teach your students. Okay, with income, the very next module, and we like to set these up hand in hand, is the expenses module. So I would set them up on the same day. Reason being that we say to students that in the real world, if they had a job, it's very unlikely that they have money coming in and not have any expenses going out. When they get their first job, maybe they start paying for their phone bill, maybe they have to pay public transport fees, any of those types of things when they're young. When they go out and get their first full-time job, I'm sure they're going to have many more expenses that they have to get used to paying. So it just helps with budgeting. Let me just quickly flip these off so I can show you what happens. So these are all example expenses. By no means do you have to enable them all, and by no means do you have to enable our suggestions. You can click the green button and add your own expenses, or you can use our examples. Now with our examples, if you choose device rental, but you want it to be more or less than the amount that we've put here, everything is editable. So you can come in, change the amount, change the day, change if you want it to happen every week, or you might want it to happen daily. I'm going to keep it weekly. You then flick the switch from draft to active, and then click the green button to update the expense. And you might have desk rent and electricity. You might just decrease that, because otherwise they're going to lose most of their money via expenses. Okay, that's a better amount. The expense module works differently to all other modules, and it's a little bit confusing. I've just flicked those switches from draft to active. What will immediately happen is, from your student's point of view, there will be a notification that appears on their dashboard that they have to action. And it's as soon as the first student actions it, there's a 7-day countdown. So basically what that means is we really encourage for you to flick those switches in front of your students when you're teaching them about the expenses. Then you get them to log in and activate it straight away. Because what happens is, I know I used to be a teacher, things get busy, you may not get to it straight away. If one student activates it on off their own back, it'll then cause all of the other students in 7 days' time to automatically come out of their account without them having actioned it at all. So a tiny bit confusing, but basically if you flick that switch in front of them and then get them to action it straight away, they will then know why the money is coming out of their account and be part of that decision-making process, I guess, of why money is coming out of their account each week. From there, the next one we suggest is actually down here in interest on savings. So we enable that module. You can choose an interest rate. Now, once again, if you want Banqer to be a little bit more like the real world, you probably pick quite a low interest rate, maybe even lower than 3%, and talk to students about the fact that at the moment interest rates are low, which means there's less payments coming in for your savings account, but I guess it does impact on mortgage repayments and those sorts of things. Obviously, if that is applicable to your students' knowledge basis, if you have younger students, that may not be something that you can discuss. But interest on savings is not automatically activated. So if students are moving money into their savings account and you haven't enabled this interest on savings module, then they won't be paid any interest, right, just because they've been moving money into their savings account. So those are the first 3 modules that we recommend. Let me flick back to the dashboard. So those first 3 modules that we recommend can probably be taught either in the first lesson, or you could split interest separately and maybe teach it in a separate lesson to income and expenses. But I would teach them early in the year, early in the term, next term. Then you can just slowly introduce the other modules as they apply to your students. I will point out, so this tile card here has now appeared because I have enabled the interest module. What will happen is once I log in and out a few times, this tile card will change and it will tell you what we suggest being the next module. The next module that we would suggest is probably going to be the careers and employment module, so having students apply for their jobs. That's another really good lesson to teach towards the beginning of the term. I know that when you're setting up classes, often you're setting up class jobs. So if you do Banqer, if you're introducing Banqer at the same time, the careers and employment one is probably a good one to do towards the beginning, so that you can just type your, I'll go to it so I can talk to it, I'll enable it. We have suggested jobs in here, but you might have different jobs that apply in your class that suit your class context better. You can add the job that applies to your class, or you can activate the jobs that are already here. From a student's point of view, they log in to their account and then they have to write just a simple CV, and then they can apply for the jobs in the job market. So that would be for me as a teacher, I would do that early in the term too, because I'd probably already be setting up jobs in my class, so I may as well use Banqer so that they get paid a salary as well. Make it a little bit more interesting for them, and maybe a little bit more motivating for them to complete the job. And then from there, the modules are up to you, I guess, and what suit your context. We have many differing age levels using this, so not necessarily all modules are going to apply. We obviously have superannuation module. Then at the end of the year, we encourage retirement. We have a big retirement party and a big retirement competition, which is fun. Tax, I guess, sounds not very interesting, but it is good for students to understand why tax is paid, build their civics and citizenship. The most popular modules are probably property and transport. Property is a little bit more complicated, and so it's normally used by those older teachers in the later years of primary or intermediate school. Transport is a little bit easier to understand, but in both of these, once you enable the property or the transport module, you can also enable the insurance modules under that, and that's where you can enable natural disasters and incidents that can affect the students, and they can realise the benefit of paying for insurance each week if they don't have it. So as I said, if you want to enable a module, you can watch a little video that we have put there, and it will give you a bit of information about how to enable it and when to enable it and maybe why to enable it, and if it suits your class. As I said, very quick overview of how to use Banqer. Let me just do the last couple of things across the top, but before I get there, I just want to point out that down the bottom we have this chat box. That is us. It's not a robot by any means. So if you ever have a question, or you need to find something, or you're not sure about when to teach something, or you want some advice, anything like that, just jump in here, type in your question, and we'll get back to you. Usually, if it's school hours, within minutes. Across the top is our teacher resources section. So if you click on lesson plans here, I showed you how to click that red button, and it takes you to the linked lesson plans. If you want to go through and just sort through all of the available lesson plans and find the ones that suit you, you can go through this way, and you can filter using the modules, or you can just scroll through and find the ones that suit you. I'll jump back. The next section down is our frequently asked questions and guides. So sometimes you might just want to find the answer really quickly to a question and you don't want to jump on here. We often have things that help you here. The one that I like to point out is this initial Banqer lesson. So I know I just quickly rushed through how I would do it, but what I've also done in this article is film a little video where I explain how to do it, and it gives you points to pause. So it helps you step it through with the students. So that video is for you and your students. You can put it on the screen in your class. You can and step through those initial steps of setting up income and expenses. The very first login, when they then have to do a quiz, then setting up income and expenses in your class. So that helps you step you through, and you don't have to remember the things that I've rambled through at the beginning of this webinar. Okay, back here. The last section is the community. So the community, we like to encourage the community to be a place. If you come in here and click on inspiration, this is where you can find lesson plan ideas from other Banqer teachers. So they've come in and they have shared different ways that they've used Banqer, which we really love. Some of them we have then used as examples because we love them, but we also love seeing how teachers are using them. We love hearing, we love seeing when these inspiration posts are posted. So if you ever want some inspiration, you can come in and find it. If you ever think of a great way to use Banqer, please come in and share. And then that's basically it. Up here is where I keep clicking on my class name. It brings me back to my dashboard each time. You can have more than one Banqer class. If you teach more than one, if you're in more than one classroom, you just click on this arrow and go down to create a new classroom, and then you can toggle between them, as you can see here, by clicking on the arrow. And then you just, if you ever need to edit your profile, you can come in and edit your profile, or this is where you find your sign out button. So as I said, a very quick overview of how to use Banqer. If you ever have any questions, please shoot them through to me through that in-app chat or send me an email. And we really look forward to seeing you use Banqer with your students in 2020. All right, thank you very much.